Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Ben Bateman.
And I'm Andrew Guy.
And we are the Action Guys. Cool. We're here.
What is going on in the world?
This is a crazy week. We are back. We are here in studio. We have hours and hours of content to tape this week, and all of the content we are talking about is Avengers related.
It is just Avengers.
You know, we're gonna just cut the shit, guys. Yeah. We're gonna get straight to it because Drew and I, we have to tape back-to-back shows right now, and so both of these have to be all content. There can't be plugs.
No.
There can't be nonsense. Today's show is each of our top 10 moments in Avengers Infinity War.
That's it. We're going to get right into it. Ben and I are each going to count down our individual top 10s. Remember, if you want to find the full episode of this, it's youtube.com/actionindustries. Let's go. What's your number 10?
My number 10 moment in Infinity War, this is the fastest episode we've ever done, is they're up on the ship and they get rid of Ebony Maw. And it's Spider-Man uses the whole, have you seen that old movie? Right? And it's right after they get rid of him, and they realize it's a one-way ticket, and Iron Man looks at him, and he's like, congratulations, kid. You're an Avenger now. And walks away. And Spider-Man has this look on his face, and it's such a nice moment because it's the combination of his moment, like his realization, but also like Iron Man realizing Stark, like, this doesn't matter. He's already up here. Who cares if he's...
You're probably going to die.
I already tried to get this kid a job. I already tried to give him the suit at the end of Homecoming and make him an Avenger, and he passed on it. So he was an Avenger then, too.
And I tried to get him off of this ship.
Yeah.
But he's a hero. He's an Avenger.
And just like that moment is such a cool, like, you feel you are that kid. You are Spider-Man. And it's such an exciting thing to be this kid. And like Tony Stark just made me an Avenger.
Yeah.
I love
that's
that.
great.
I love that moment.
My moment's actually to come basically at the same time. It's not the conversation. I'm actually going to remove my conversation and my look from the list because I love it so much. It's actually when he gets the Iron Spider for the first time, and you see it because it's in that same moment.
Yeah.
You see the legs come out and it catches him when he's trying to catch Strange from Ebony Maw gets sucked out. I hate spiders. I hate them.
Freak me out.
They freak me out, but I love what it is about spiders that freak me out so much are the legs and the eyes, but the Iron Spider, the suit itself, like you throughout the whole movie, you see how badass it is with the shell and the rolling and all that. But this is the first time it pops out, and you're like, oh, yes!
It's a super epic moment. It's amazing. The suit, like him getting the suit, like Mr. Stark, this smells like a new car. It's just great. Their relationship's so good, and it's just now that we've each done our first one, we've kind of broken the seal, so to speak. Couple just quick shout-outs. The first one, there are no Endgame spoilers in this episode.
None at all.
We have seen it. You may have seen it because this drops Friday.
Yeah.
But we're not spoiling it, so we're not going anywhere near it. That will be next week's episode in our definitive rankings of all MCU movies that we're doing. We will spoil the shit out of it then.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about stuff throughout. But in this episode, you are completely safe. If you're worried about Endgame spoilers, it's not going to happen here. What's your number 8?
My number 9.
Excuse me.
My number 9 is it's right in the third act. It's when the big battle in Wakanda's going on. Thor's just gotten Stormbreaker, and they're losing, and Thor lands, and just the big explosion, and he has Stormbreaker, and it's bring me Thanos.
Bring me Thanos.
Now the reason this is so low, because some of you guys are probably thinking to yourself, how is this number 9?
Yeah, a lot of people it's their favorite moment in the whole movie.
And the reason is I've now seen this movie 7 times, and while I love this moment, it doesn't resonate as much with me as it did the first time when I've watched it more times. But it is a huge moment, and it is epic, and it is massive. And I could have moved it up, but some of the other ones when I watched it again this last time, like you and I did a show together. We did a live watch along of Infinity War just the other night for Patreon. By the way, patreon.com/teamaction is the best way to support what we're doing, guys.
Yeah.
We're doing these exclusive watch alongs now at the $10 tier once a month. There's a whole bunch of cool new perks coming on Patreon there. So, but that is my number 9 is Bring Me Thanos, Thor with the explosion with Stormbreaker showing up with Rocket. It's just awesome.
Yeah, that's your moment. I really love it, but I do feel the same way where like people say it's their favorite moment and it just doesn't carry enough behind me. I've been waiting for so long for this to happen that I'm just like, all right, here we go. It's about damn time.
So what's your number 9?
Number 9, it's Cap and Panther running. Right after he says Wakanda forever, and they all charge, and everyone's charging, and then all of a sudden you see Panther and Cap being like, all right, let's get down to business. And they just...
Do you want to do your best Wakanda forever?
No. I don't.
I don't do my impression of Wakanda on
Wakandan
mic.
accent.
I did it during the watch along. It's an exclusive not appropriate perk that you get if you join patreon.com/teamaction. I won't do it on the mic.
Yeah, I refuse to do the Wakanda forever.
It's
just
such a
doesn't
sweet moment,
it's
though.
so sick. And I always think about how much Chadwick probably hates saying it in real life now.
Yeah.
But every time he says it in any movie, it's so awesome.
When he says it in that moment, they start running. It's because everybody like loves like the superhuman. Like that's the stuff. Again, we talked about this on the watch along. When you're a kid, when you're 8 and you watch that movie for the first time, the things you'll always remember are things just like that.
Yeah,
it's the two of them being the fastest Avengers.
Yeah, I still remember like Civil War. The battle that they have when they're chasing after each other in like the underground tunnel system or whatever, and like Bucky grabs that's in Winter Soldier when he grabs the bike with one arm and flips it, like things like that.
Yeah,
you're like, God, that's what it's like to be superhuman.
It's so cool,
insane.
All right, moving on. My next one, number 8. So this is the very first line of the movie. It's actually not the first spoken line because the first spoken line is you hear a voice that sounds an awful lot like Ewan McGregor, and he's like, "We have been attacked," or something like that.
Oh, it's Kenneth Branagh.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds a lot like Ewan McGregor, and you hear that on the radio. But and then the music is super ominous, and you see that they've been beat to shit.
Yeah.
And that's my third SH word. I don't know why. It's all right.
Hyped. You're excited.
And you hear Ebony Maw, and he's like, "Hear ye, hear ye." You have been granted an audience. He's way cooler sounding than that.
Yeah, but it's like that evil Weasley snake bad guy. It's not Thanos' voice.
It's something about the way that we jump right into the destruction and the death and the like. It's just that movie's just so good. And like when I saw it with Haggerty at the cast and crew screening, I just remember like these are all the people that had worked on it. That first line comes up and I could just see Hag's face. He was like he was so excited to watch
ready.
it. And just I heard that line, I was like, I'm so in.
Oh yeah, because when you and I watched it in the watch along just the other day, that moment feels kind of silly if you're not completely bought in. But since you're so in, it adds to it. It adds to the gravitas.
Yeah, and like because it continues right into Thanos' first line. I know what it's like to lose.
Yeah, and it's like and these are the lines you've heard so many times.
To feel so desperately that you're right and fall short all the same.
Yeah.
I think is what he says. That his lines in writing, I mean, spoiler alert, I have 2 Thanos lines in my top 10.
Yeah.
Because they're so good.
They're incredible. My number 8, my moment, it's the comedy. It's comedy, and it's when the Guardians meet Thor for the first time. And then Rocket's like, "You're one sandwich away from being fat." Yeah. It's like, "What? No, I'm not." And he like looks around, and Drax is like, "It's true. You've gotten bigger," whatever he says, and he does like this like thing with the cheeks. Well, then he does this thing with the sides.
The nice thing is that's my number 7. So it's literally my next one. It's the exact same moment because it's So it's like he's like. It's like some movement by Batista that's just so good, and then on top of the movement that's so good is the next line by Quill's like, "Okay, it's a wake up call. I'm gonna get a Bowflex," and that's just genius writing because he's from the '90s, he's from Earth, or the '80s, and Bowflex is not a thing now.
No, it's literally a joke.
People who watch infomercials, nobody watches infomercials, and those that do, Bowflex is not even in those infomercials. Yeah. But he grew up like watching the Bowflex commercial. He's like, if I'm gonna get in shape, I gotta get a Bowflex.
Yeah. And then the lines throughout, like Sweet Rabbit, Tree, Goodbye Morons. All the that's the moment I think for me, because you see a lot in Ragnarok that you see that Thor's funny. This is where you're just like, oh my God, it's him and RDJ, right? They are the comic gold of this franchise now.
Yeah. He really has settled into that comedy role well. Yeah, that chin side move is just like, it's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
I love it.
That's my number 7. So what is your number 7?
Oh wow, I'm just gonna go back to back. So I guess my number 7. I think it's Quill's realization. It's the moment when he realizes that Gamora's dead. You see it in his face when what is her name? Mantis says he mourns, and then Nebula's like, he went to Vormir to get the Soul Stone with Gamora, and
he came back with the Soul Stone.
Yeah, whatever. And then like, he's like, "Where is she? Where is she? You son of a bitch!" And he gets tense.
Asshole.
Yeah, and like. Everyone is just like...
Tony's like, keep it together, Quill.
Keep it together, Quill, yeah. Everyone is just like, no. Like, all the fans, all the Avengers, everyone in the room. But you feel for the guy.
And you look at your watch and you go, there's no way they stop him from doing this.
Yep,
there's 45 minutes of movie left.
Yes.
We have too much movie left.
Oh, and then the finger catches it at the very last bit from Spider-Man. God, that's a great moment. And
it's such a sweet fight.
As much as you want to hate on Quill...
I mean, he's just human.
He's human.
He's only human.
He's half God.
Yeah. My number 6 is Catch. Oh, it's not spider. I thought this said catches spider.
To catch a spider.
Catches spear. And that moment, my friends, this was in the theater.
You
the
lost
first
it.
time.
Yeah.
My single favorite moment. This was it's when Wanda and Vision are getting chased, and they have it's like the Michael Biehn in the Terminator moment where he's like dying, he's been shot, he's bleeding out, and she's like, "You just have to get up, we have to keep running," and you're like, I think she could probably kick these guys' asses, but she's discombobulated. She doesn't know how to use her powers as well as she.
Right.
She's not totally. And Vision has been stabbed, and he's like, "You have to go, leave me." And they've really done a good job in this short time of establishing their relationship. And then all of a sudden, you hear the beginning of the Silvestri score, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, and you're like, "What's going on?" And you see the train go by,
Yeah.
you see the outline, and you're like, "That beard! That's gotta be Cap!" And he catches the spear, and I just about lost it.
Yeah.
I will say, my number one moment in Endgame, I'm not going to say anything about it, is a Cap moment.
I knew you were going to say that. I think he might be my. I was actually, while you were talking, I was like, Cap might have the best moments throughout the entire franchise. Throughout. But that's all we're going to say, of course.
Yeah. So
he catches the spear. Yeah.
He catches the spear, and it's just such a hype moment because you're like, I've seen, I've already gotten to see Iron Man, like he's in the story already.
Yeah.
And Thor has already entered the story. So one of the three has to still enter. When's he going to enter? When do we get Cap?
When is Cap coming in? And it's such a sweet entrance. We don't want to kill you, but we will.
She's a great actress. What is your number 6?
So my number 6 is actually, it's actually like maybe 10 minutes later in the movie. It's Thor's moment with Rocket on the ship when he's talking about what he's lost. And, he ends the whole thing. He's like, well, what else do I have to lose? And then Rocket's like, I got a lot to lose.
Me personally,
I got a lot to lose.
It's a little higher on my list, but it's terrific.
It's such a good moment, and it's so heartfelt, and you kind of realize that Thor's kind of had it the worst. Mother, father, brother, best friend, planet, people, all gone. And he does such a great job of the self-deprecating, sadly laughing at yourself to keep from crying. I think Hemsworth might be the best actor in this whole franchise, other than Downey.
Yeah, Downey just crushes it. Yeah. All right, mine. So what are we on, number 5 now?
Mm-hmm.
So my number 5 is the first of my Thanos lines.
Yeah.
And it's after he has the final battle with Stark on Titan, which is
pretty sweet.
I mean, it's hard to not just want to use that battle as the moment because the battle's so good and it's so badass as Stark is sitting there fighting him and the nanotech, he's running out of juice.
Yeah,
so
and
he's
you can see parts of his armor just not coming back.
His face is uncovered, his leg is uncovered, and he's trying to do everything he can to fight Thanos because he's got this this Infinity Stone gauntlet, it's one short.
And the way that he fights, using this hammer thing and the thing that keeps his hand open and turning it's just awesome.
You're Stark is so powerful, he almost is able to take him down.
And so smart.
And he's so fast, but then you see under the mask, you're oh, but he's an older dude now.
And he's getting his ass kicked.
And you're he's willing to die for the cause. And after he gets the knife and he gets stabbed through the stomach, which in the theater was I just about shat myself.
I looked and gasped and froze.
You couldn't believe it
because my heart dropped.
You were there's no, Downey can't die. You're even if you think to yourself, you're no matter what, there's another movie.
Yeah, he has to be in that movie,
not
right?
Be in the next movie. But you were also maybe he's not going to be in the next movie.
Right.
You're thinking this is the moment.
I mean, they were filmed at the same time.
Yeah.
He could have just been under contract for just the one.
And then you start thinking is it going to be a Gandalf situation?
Right.
Does he come back at the turn of the tide?
Turn of the tide.
No, but so that moment, and then Thanos looks at him and he says, You fought you fought well, Stark, or whatever.
Yeah. When I'm finished, half of the universe will still exist, or whatever.
You have my respect, Stark. Yeah. And he says, I hope they remember you. That's such a sweet line.
It's such a good line.
When he says, I hope they remember you, I remember in theaters, wow, that's the whole combination of the moment, the music, the casting, and the delivery was so perfect.
That's your number 5?
My number 5.
That's my number 5. It literally says right here, I hope they remember you, under number 5. Because it's so good. All of his lines are so good, but I hope they remember you is my favorite. But I also love the beginning of it where he's I too am burdened by knowledge.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, because he's like
the curse of
Stark.
knowledge, maybe.
Yeah, or something like that.
I always forget the line.
It's I think it's burdened by knowledge or whatever, but it's he knows who Tony Stark is.
Yeah.
Thanos.
Yeah.
The Titan knows who Tony Stark is.
Thanos.
and he doesn't know who Captain America is.
No.
You know?
Steve Rogers is a bitch in his mind.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
care.
amazing. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Thor. What more do I have to lose? And his moment with Rocket, the one you just talked about.
The one I just talked about. Okay.
And I think it's a great moment for a couple of reasons, right? It's a great moment because you know that Hemsworth is not taken seriously that often, but the character of Thor has wanted, like from the beginning, the character of Thor takes himself very seriously.
Right.
In those early movies that are not as good, he takes himself really seriously.
Too seriously.
And it doesn't do the character any favors. And so after Ragnarok, he comes in with some real humor. He enters this movie with a lot of humor and meets the Guardians. And this is the moment where he really, you're like, oh, if the original pathway to this character working didn't really work.
Right.
But now you guys have combined like heart with humor. This works.
And he becomes a human in that moment.
Yeah, and you're just like, and yeah, the way he describes it, like his best friend, his mother, like all of it.
And again, like the whole like laughing to keep from crying throughout is so brilliantly well done by him.
It's really good. It's also just like more proof that like turning Rocket into a real character is just like so hard, but like so good.
Yeah, the execution of Rocket throughout the franchise is one of the greatest things, period.
He's a raccoon. He's a talking raccoon with guns, and he's like so lovable.
He's so lovable and engaging and like deep. He has layers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so funny. Mine's so close. My number 4 is Spider-Man fading away. It's not on my list. I know.
I feel like it should have been. I feel like I've missed something because that's not on my list.
And you and I, we were fortunate enough to do our watch along with our fans.
Yeah.
And they pointed out to us a big part of like why it takes him longer to fade away. And like I'd heard people talk about rumblings, but it's the trueness of watching it this last time and knowing it was his spidey senses at first being like, I don't feel so good. Like the fact that his spider senses already are like getting him ready to die essentially. And then the moment is just like from the first time to like when he goes to get the door, and he's like, "Are we gonna hug?" He's like, "I'm not there yet, kid."
Yeah.
From the first time you see the two of them interact to this moment where he fades away and how much has been earned in their relationship from Homecoming, it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And like Holland is a really great actor.
Yeah.
I'm like very impressed by the look that he gives when he becomes an Avenger and the look that he gives when he fades away. It's just out of this world. Out of this world heartbreaking, and yeah, definitely.
It's so good. I mean, he's really he's cast extremely well, and what he embodies is that there's like a childlike innocence that combines with strength that he manages to pull off like so well.
He's so lovable.
Yeah, who was it? Haggerty was just telling me because he did reshoots on Homecoming.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the shirt. Were you there? We were all talking about that,
I
right?
was just telling he was because he's wearing what was it?
It's like a shirt of like some show that they both really like, maybe.
Yeah, it's like
or like a video game or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it was like some T-shirt, and like one of the ADs was like, "Hey Tom, check out this guy's shirt," and he's like over there, and he's got on like the mask,
the full Spider-Man suit,
and he's like can't see it. He's like, "Huh, yeah, that's really cool.
that's
man. Awesome.
He's like, said Spider-Man, tell me my outfit was awesome. And he looks like Spider-Man on set.
Yeah.
Like, that's so cool.
So cool.
I love that picture too of him that he just posted of him just like playing on his phone and Evans is sitting in the background on a bucket on his phone.
He said
In
he showed
Captain
that to us like
America's.
2 years ago
Yeah.
or something, and I always thought it was like the greatest picture ever. I've shown that to like a dozen people. I'm so stoked that he finally
So
posted
funny
it.
because he finally showed it yesterday when he
Yeah.
was legally allowed to. What's your number 3?
My number 3.
Oh God, these top 3 are insane.
They're so
They're
good.
so good.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, let's make sure this is lined up properly, because I don't have a 2 marked here. It can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now there's 10 here, so one of these is marked twice. Then.
So I'll hop in with my number 3 while you figure it out.
Okay.
My number 3 is when Thanos kills Vision. It's the moment where you're just like, you feel so helpless. Wanda has just done the most incredible thing ever. She's destroyed a Soul Stone while holding back Thanos, and don't forget she's killing the man that she loves. And then Thanos just comes up and goes, "Brrr." What does he say? It's like, this time isn't a time at all, or something like that.
I think it's this. There's no time to mourn.
Yeah.
This is no time to mourn.
This is no time at all. This is no time at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just turns the time, and like, you don't even think about it. Even though you've seen Doctor Strange, you know that he's got the time stone. He just turns it back, and then the brutality, the finality of just coming up and pulling it out of his head and then tossing him aside because he's finally got what he wants. Damn.
So I was originally gonna go with my number 3. I had written down here, all that for a drop of blood.
Yeah.
Because it's like the line that
Love
feels
that
like it's my
line.
favorite line in the movie in some cases. But the more I've thought about it, actually, I hope they remember you. I feel like takes the spot. So I'm actually going to audible right now and swap in something that wasn't even on my list. But just talking about this and realizing it,
You're like, it's when Spider-Man fades away.
it's the moment immediately after the snap when it's just this eerie quiet.
The silence.
Where'd
There's
he
no
go?
score.
Where'd he go? And everybody's like, I don't know. And then you see Bucky fade. And you're like, wait a minute. And then there's like the fake out where like T'Challa is like,
he goes to
I'm not
help
gonna
her.
read it. He said, oh, almost just did it.
He almost did it.
This is no place to die. And then he fades away.
Yeah. It looks like her arm is gone, but then it's, oh, God.
Each of the fadeaways, that moment is so stirring because the movie ends 5 minutes later and like on such a downer. Like, and
When you and I walked out of the theater, we were like, the bad guys won.
it was so crazy. And like you cut to Titan and like, you know, it's like they've had their disagreements, but it's like Stark's like, steady, Quill, and it's just like, and Drax, Quill, you know, it's like those and Spider-Man, of course, being the most crushing one, but just all of them one by one.
And even Strange being like, it was the only way.
Yeah.
Stark, it was the only way, and then gone. Like, this movie is so good.
I love this movie so much.
Guys, we're going to be ranking our number 22 to our number 1 MCU films next week on The Action Guys, so stay tuned for that. My number 2 moment in the film is when Captain America catches and holds Thanos' glove.
That's your number 2?
It's my number 2.
That's your number 2?
It's my number 2. I love it so much. It's so amazing. It's in the madness of everything. He's the first person I think that gets tossed by Thanos once Thanos ends up on Earth. He just tosses him. Then he comes back. He fights him. He hits him in the face with the shield, and he catches the glove. Which I love. He's holding like 2 fingers of his that are like this big.
He's ready to die for the cause.
Ready to die for the cause.
He's jumping on the grenade.
And then it's the look from Thanos, right? It's the look of like
yeah, who is this guy?
And then he just drops him.
That is also on my list.
Not many spots left.
My number that's your number 2.
That's my number 2.
So my number 2 is Wanda destroying Vision's stone.
That's my number 1.
Okay, yeah.
It makes sense that we switched them.
It's destroying Vision's stone as she holds off Thanos, and it's it's like the moment between those two. It's okay, you can never hurt me. Yeah, and he's like, what does he say? I just feel you.
I just feel you.
Their relationship is so surprisingly good that it just in that moment it just works so much. Oh, and he looks at her and he says, "We're out of time."
Yes! That's the line. Oh God, it's so good. And what I love too, it's so random. I never really noticed it before, but it was just the effects of. I was like imagining them holding like an umbrella in front of Brolin, and him being like pushing to get closer. Because I love that Thanos is just not strong enough to get there in time. And then the look, the look that he gives after a burst, like you can't believe it.
Yeah,
but then he realizes
she's like super duper powerful.
Yeah. God, that's such a good moment.
Such a good moment. So my number 1 is the glove.
So funny. We just explained each other's best moments.
Yeah. And the glove, and I said this on the other show on Action Movie Anatomy because we just talked about Avengers on that show. But there's like this level of like purity in Captain America that is not totally embodied in First Avenger. And they start to embody his strength better in Winter Soldier.
They do a
and Civil
really
War.
good job of jumping exponentially from First Avenger to Winter Soldier.
They embody some of his sort of good and purity in the first movie, like he's worthy.
Yeah.
But they like really kind of. It almost feels like they were willing to jump from him being like a superhuman to a superhero.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And like him fighting Thanos, like it's almost like he gets stronger because he realizes the moment is bigger, and that's what allows him to hold that glove open. He's like. Just a man, but he's strong enough
because he has to be.
Because he has
moment.
to.
Yeah,
and that's so cool. That's such a cool moment. Like to watching that. I mean, it was in the trailer, I remember, and I lost my shit when it was in the trailer.
And you said it's pulled directly from the comics.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe that's a moment right straight from the comic book. But that's been my favorite. That's my single favorite moment in the history of the MCU.
Yeah,
is him holding the glove. It's
so crazy to think. I used to be so worried about how dumb Thanos was going to be and how lame of a villain he'd be.
Yeah,
and look at where we are now.
I mean, yeah. So that's the top 10 moments for each of us in Infinity War, guys. It's a nice kind of refresher, catching us all up. Staying hyped for Endgame, which we're just crazy hyped for you guys to watch. And we're going to talk all about it next week on our definitive rankings of the MCU episode, which we're super excited to get to as well. I guess a couple quick shout outs. We have a minute. So
you guys can find me at Andrew Guy. You can find us on Twitter at Team Action Show. Please go and find full episodes of The Action Guys on Action Industries YouTube page. Leave a comment, like, and please subscribe.
Yeah, guys. And as I mentioned before, patreon.com/teamaction is the best way to support us. We do content every week, multiple different channels. We've got our own YouTube channel now, exclusive watch-alongs, and check out Houston Live, May 18th, Ben versus Drew, the movie trivia schmodown. It's going to be a crazy head-to-head match. We are fighting with knives.
We are.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
I have a better chance.
Yeah. But it's going to be an unbelievable time. So get tickets. Come hang out in Houston with us. We're doing a fan meetup. We're going to talk all about that on our Patreon. Full details on the Patreon, patreon.com/teamaction. So I think that's going to wrap us up for the episode, guys.
Yeah, please, guys, leave your top 10 Infinity War moments in the comments below. Make sure to download this on the Collider Podcast Network. You can get it on Apple Podcast or Apple One. Is that what it's called? Apple Podcast?
Podcast One, Apple Podcast.
Yeah, there we go.
It's the Collider Movie Talk feed is where we're featured. So otherwise, guys, thanks a lot. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.